Ecoburner, based in Waterford, Ireland, manufactures the Ecoburner. Although the company was founded in 2004, it wasn't until 2010 when they received external investment that sales began to grow significantly. At that point, they were making products for stock and using a series of Excel spreadsheets to manage orders, stock, and even to print out invoices prior to being re-entered into their Sage 50 account software.
The key challenges for us with that particular system were the lack of traceability of components within each batch that we were producing, the fact that each department was effectively working independently of the other. So finance only knew that we bought something when the invoice came in the door. There was no approvals or authorization process in place. And the difficulty, I suppose, in forecasting the right stock purchase levels for the quantities that we were trying to make. So given, again, the scale that we were at the time, it was achievable but difficult and frustrating using a manual system, but there's no way we could have scaled from where we were then to where we are now with that kind of approach.
In 2010, the company set about evaluating ERP systems, considering several costing up to around €200,000, with ongoing annual maintenance of around €13,500. Kieran found that while most had entry-level systems at lower prices, they didn't meet their needs.
When you looked at the lower-end versions, you weren't getting the traceability really as part of that they were very simple transaction-based systems, but they couldn't necessarily control all of the component level batch numbers for us. So what happened was, with those other systems, we very quickly ended up walking up from level 1 to needing the level 3 or the level 4 product, and the price tag rose accordingly. So one of them we were quoted just under €200,000 for a system that, in my view, wasn't as user-friendly or wasn't as simple to operate.
After further online research, Kieran discovered 123 Insight and reviewed the multimedia disc. He also liked the subscription-based pricing model.
The software as a service, where you're paying the fee monthly rather than paying a significant capital amount up front, created a certain amount of attraction to the point where you'd say, okay, let me understand a little bit more about this offer and see if it meets our needs.
Kieran attended an evaluation workshop in Southampton in September 2011, although he was initially reluctant.
I had a background in IT, and the standard model, I suppose, in the IT industry is when you say you want to buy a piece of software, people will come and knock at your door and show you their wares. And I guess I had been trained into that mindset through previous roles I've been involved in. I suppose my initial reaction was, I don't really want to travel all the way to Southampton to do an initial evaluation to see whether this is something I want to proceed with or not. So I suppose it took a little while for me to initially get over that you come and have a look at us rather than we'll come and meet with you approach to the initial product demonstrations.
Ecoburner's products require minimal assembly time, so Kieran wanted to ensure that whichever system they selected didn't add complex and time-consuming IT-related processes to it. As the company had staff with programming experience, they planned to write a bespoke shop floor interface and wanted a system that they could easily connect it to.
When the product goes through assembly, there's quite a number of components and sub-assemblies involved with each individual unit. The unit itself is serialized, and the production labour downstairs is probably in the region of 4 or 5 minutes per unit to do the assembly after all the sub-assemblies have been put together. What we needed was a process that could accurately and consistently record every component that went into it, but didn't add 3 or 4 minutes of processing time onto the 3 or 4 minutes of assembly time. So one of the things that 123 offered, which set it apart from the other products that we looked at, was the ability to interface via what 123 referred to as the SDK option. So that allowed us to write some very simple screens where our staff literally just had to scan the barcode that's on the front of the unit, and 123 would then, through the SDKs, update all of the stock, update the works order. So a transaction that could have taken even a minute or 2 minutes to process on another system was simply waving the barcode under a scanner and the system went and processed all the stock transactions in the background. The ability to take any requirement for transaction processing away from the operatives downstairs was obviously quite an appealing concept for us and them.
The decision was made immediately after the workshop to select 123 Insight, and the 6 days of no obligation training were scheduled in November for 2 key staff in production and finance. Ecoburner also added an extra day to each trip to allow time to discuss their unique requirements with the development team, which Kieran found invaluable.
We also ended up having some interaction with the development team of 123 to understand exactly what each of the SDKs was doing and what it was calling and the processes that were involved behind it. We went over from Ireland, we did the 3 or 4 day training block, and then we would tack a day onto the end of it to sit down with the development team and go through the SDKs and update them on what we had done so far and what we thought was, the process flow from our perspective. So it was quite an iterative process, and there was quite a lot of to and fro, and yet I think from the time of our first meeting through the training to the implementation was less than 3 months. So once we made the decision to go, it was a very quick process.
Once training was complete, Ecoburner used 123 Insight's data import kit to reshape their data from their Excel spreadsheets, which Kieran found extremely easy.
It wasn't a case where you're trying to go through one at a time, set up your products. Because you've got it in an Excel format, it's very easy to see all of the fields that you need. If there's something that's standard, like the unit of measure is a quantity of 1, you just put 1 and drag it down the whole column in Excel. So you're not, it's very quick to get the data in, or certainly our experience was that it was very quick and straightforward to get the data in.
They also elected to replace their Sage 50 accounts with Access Dimensions to benefit from the seamless integration between it and 123 Insight. Instead of installing 123 Insight on a server in their offices, Kieran decided to opt for a subscription approach.
We're a relatively small company. We don't have in-house IT people, we don't have server support people, and we decided pretty much from the outset that if we were going to take 123 on as a monthly payment fee, why didn't we take the same approach for servers and email and everything else? And then we had a set IT cost per month, and we didn't have any in-house costs in addition to that, and decided to rent some server space from a company in Manchester. All of our 123 database and 123 applications are all hosted in Manchester, and we can access them remotely from anywhere.
The decision was made to go live on April 2nd, 2012, just 8 weeks after implementation was started. The company stopped production on the Thursday, performed a stock check, and transferred data over the weekend.
Over the weekend, we came in, we installed the final version of our software, we made sure all the stock counts were right, we ran some reports, and then on Monday we came in and switched it on, and it worked, I suppose, in simple terms. The production team came back and started processing and manufacturing the shapos. Accounts had raised some purchase orders as tests on the Monday just to make sure that they flowed through the system correctly and we could print them off correctly, and there was no issues, but it was really a non-event, to be honest.
123 Insight's powerful batch traceability was highlighted when the company had an issue that required traceability on components manufactured prior to 123 Insight's implementation.
That really came home to roost for us when about 2.5 years after we implemented the 123 system, an issue came up where we had to go back and look at some traceability of product prior to the implementation of 123, and we were all, I suppose, taken aback by how little traceability we had at the time. We were so used to going into 123 and we can put in a batch number and we can see who manufactured that, when was it manufactured, what quality test did that product go through, what date was it booked into stock, what customer was it sold to, and something that in our new environment was a very, very straightforward question proved almost impossible to provide the level of traceability on the pre-123 transactions that we needed. We actually ended up going to physical paper archive, going through purchase invoices and trying to find a purchase invoice for a component that we had bought 3 years previously. If that happened today, we'd have the information within 30 minutes.
Reporting has benefited significantly. A minimum stock level traffic light report is generated for the weekly production meeting, instantly highlighting any potential issues. Kieran liked the flexibility that 123Insights reporting provided.
If you have somebody in business who understands a little bit about SQL or understands a little bit about Crystal reports, within an hour they'll have written exactly the report that they want to have, customised exactly the way that they want to do it. We have a scheduled Crystal reports application that, for example, on the night of month end, at 11:30 the night before month end, it runs a stock report, a WIP report, all of the reports in exactly the format and layout that we want them. And when the financial controller comes in on the first working day of the month, everything is there in the inbox ready to go. Customised, with groupings for our own product classes that we put together, etc.
In addition to ISO 9000, Ecoburner also has CE approval and the gas product related ETL approval status. In virtually every quality audit, each auditor has complimented them on their excellent levels of batch traceability because of 123Insight. Customer satisfaction is also being tracked using 123Insight's CRM Plus option.
We make quality follow-up phone calls to the end user of our product in hotels, restaurants and caterers around the world. And we get their feedback. That feedback is entered into the 123 CRM system, and then we have a Crystal reports, an automated Crystal report that runs every Thursday. So all of the management team within the business and some of the key shareholders get a copy of that report every week, where we hear what the customer has to say about the product. We also capture kind of a KPI metric on percentage of customer satisfaction. So week on week, we can see the feedback that we're getting from our end users. And again, if you need to go and follow up with a particular customer, you obviously sound that little bit more enlightened if you can refer to the fact that you had spoken to them 8 weeks ago and they seemed happy at that stage, or they had a query about X at that stage.
As Ecoburner continued to streamline processes, Kieran noticed a further benefit from sending both production and financial staff on training.
We also discovered a few things that we had been doing in the past that we could actually scrap, because Department 1 only did it because they thought Department 2 needed it, and Department 2 just filed it because Department 1 gave it to them. I suppose it gave us some additional benefits that weren't really related to the 123 training, so I definitely recommend that people should train as much of the team on as much of the system as possible.
Ecoburner has taken advantage of 123Insight's scalable licensing, taking as many or as few as required on a monthly basis.
Clearly the benefits are financial for us. We only pay for what we use in any given month. As we bring in the people, we make a phone call to 123, we ask for them to give us 3 extra licenses, 4 extra licenses. When we then come to the point where we pass that seasonal blip or whatever the case may be, and we're going back down to a lower level of production, you just ring up and cancel those licenses. So there's no upfront cost that's incurred, it's just how many you use in a given month.
The company has new products on the horizon and is continuing to expand.
123 is the cheapest employee that we have in the building. We've been on the system now just over 4 years. Each of those years our revenue has grown over 100%, and we don't have any additional administration functions or administration people that have come into the business to support that growth. So, to add 5 new production facilities, 4 new overseas warehouses, and 800 or 900% growth within the same system without any new resources being added, I think speaks for the transition we had between the old system and now. Again, it's something that is now just part of Ecoburner. It's just part of the way that we do things.